Horn Zerafa 2.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I speak to says it's going to go the exact same way.
Yeah. Seems to be the thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not sure when this is going up, but that will be going ahead on December 18. A lot of speculation that the date could have been shifted.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, with Michael Zerafa tragically having been involved in the sparring incident, which ended in the loss of Dwight Ritchie's life. But to his credit, Michael Zerafa has decided he wants to go ahead as planned. And you're right. Everyone wants to tell you that it's going the same way. My expectation. First of all, what about the press conference that we did to announce this fight?
Amazing.
That was one of it might be the best press conference I've ever hosted. Like Michael Zerafa, I like him, good guy.
Yeah.
Jeff Horn, obviously, I like him. Like he's a ripper guy as well, and he just turned up to just go crazy, Zerafa, and it was brilliant. It was so captivating. So many people afterwards were ringing me going, "Oh, I want to watch that fight."
Yeah.
Like he should be getting a percentage of pay-per-view.
Is he not?
Oh no, he'd be getting a fee. Well, no, I can. He's publicised what he's getting because he wanted to go to Japan and have the Murata fight for a stack, but he's ended up taking the flat fee. But
it's also like natural. Like you guys come to press conferences with all these lines, and it seems really contrived.
Oh no, he feels
that was.
He's
great.
Pissed off.
Yeah.
And we did a thing after that press conference, like a face-off style piece at a studio in Brisbane. And it was just me sitting between the pair of them.
Do they have to sit on backwards chairs like they do with Max Gallagher?
Yeah, no, we didn't do that. We had forwards chairs. And
orthodox chairs.
And we were sitting around and after he'd gone crazy before, we were sort of waiting and I was like, you're going to have to do that again now, here. And he's like, no, I'll be good. And Jeff's hanging around he's not going to do anything. And so we had a coffee and they were separating them, keeping them apart as much as possible. Then we were getting started and I did an intro and then I think I threw the first question to Mick and he sort of just straight batted it a little bit. And I was like, what's this? Like he was like, oh yeah, it's a rematch, but I knew this was coming. It's been the contract and it's probably disappointing, but I'm just really looking forward to going out. And it just wasn't anything like what we just had. So anyway, we sort of plodded along for another minute or so. And then thankfully, whoever was meant to be recording it outside came in and said, sorry, there's been a mistake. We have to start again. And I was like, thank God. So I just turned to Zerafa and was just like, what the fuck was that? Well, what are you doing? You just carried on like a lunatic at the press conference. Like you've made all these assertions. You're saying all this stuff. This is the main piece of content for this fight. And you're going to carry on like that? I was like, there's no point us doing this. Why don't we just leave it? If you want to leave it, we'll just leave it. And he's looking around like, oh, and anyway, it worked. He fired up. So we did it again. I threw to him and he just went crazy again. So the whole thing is just him. It's just the same. It's just more of him giving it to Horn. Like it goes even more than the press conference. So, I don't know when it's coming out. But it wasn't my content actually. It was the promoters. But it was really good. And then I spoke to him after. I was like, I got you. He's like, I've never been spoken like that. Like he goes, you sound like my dad yelling at me or something. But it worked. So.
How does Jeff take it? Because you can see Jeff.
He doesn't want that to be happening.
Nah,
it's just not his go.
He was getting a little worked up. As much as Jeff Horn ever would in front of a microphone.
He's such a smooth dude. Like he's just like, oh, okay. He I know. Yeah, he was sparring with Dennis Hogan that afternoon. He was like, oh God, I don't need any more of this. This is exhausting. Like defending myself against this. I've got to go and fight that dude later on. But he's fine with it. Like. I think what will happen in that fight is, and I know there was a big push, as there should have been from the DNL side, from Jeff Horn's side, to get the weight down, to have him meet at Super Welter or thereabouts. But all the offers that were made, and they were significant money, to the Zerafa camp were refused. They said, no, if you're going to do it, if you're going to make us fight you, you're doing it again at middleweight. So they're fighting at middleweight. Very difficult for Jeff Horn, because we've seen he's not a middleweight. Like we saw that in the first fight. I think that's safe to say. I reckon what we'll see is Jeff Horn come in under the weight. I reckon he'll come in not a long way under. Maybe he weighs in, somewhere just under 72. But he'll be leaner. He's not going to try and put on that size just for the sake of it. I reckon he's going to just go at him early. I think we'll see a proper brawl early in this fight. I reckon the Horn camp say, look, we nearly had him early in that fight because you'll remember the fight. He obviously got dropped early, and it wasn't a huge knockdown. But he got back up and he had Zerafa in strife. Like rounds 2 and 3 looked good, and he had real good moments. I reckon they go, all right, we can get rid of him early. So they're going to go, and I don't know if you can do that to Zerafa. So it makes for a really compelling fight. I looked at the prices today. They've got some of the betting mobs have got Zerafa $1.50 favourite, Jeff Horn $2.50-ish. I don't know. I don't know what happens.
You think it's closer than everyone's saying?
I don't know. You can't write off Jeff Horn because he bashed Manny Pacquiao. I know it's a different Jeff Horn now, but Zerafa, he went to another level, and what he does have is confidence now, and often that's been something that he's lacked in some of his really big fights, but he's got that now. You saw that at the press conference. You saw it in the fight. You saw it at the press conference. And then sort of the other thing that does lurk around is this tragedy that is present in all Australian boxing at the moment, but is going to be hyper present in this event. What impact does that have?
Yeah.
What impact does that have in the build-up? What impact, if any, does that have on the night for either of the boxers? It's subtext that we wish wasn't present, but it is.
You might not even know until the bell goes.
Yeah.
How Zerafa's going mentally, like he can convince himself.
We're going to make decisions. Obviously there will be tributes. There's tributes this weekend on Saturday night. There were tributes on Friday and Saturday last week. 10 bells. There will be on December 6th a show that Dwight Ritchie was meant to be fighting on. What's appropriate on December 18? How do you handle it as sensitively for everyone involved? It's a really difficult time, and it's part of me would have hoped that this fight was postponed till February, but it's going ahead, and it's going to be fascinating what happens.
Fair play to Michael Zerafa.
Michael Zerafa, it's funny. I've got a strange relationship with Michael Zerafa. Known him for a long time, but he says to me more than anything else. He says to me is, "You hate me, don't you?" For some reason, he thinks I hate him, and he's always been like that. And even we did a podcast, one of the other one that I do that goes through Oz Boxing, Hurt Business Radio. We did, and it was the week. It was a few days before the tragedy unfolded, and it actually went up on the day. Awful timing, but we did an episode with Zerafa, and we had a really good banter because, he's always sort of, he's going, you're in Horn camp, like everyone, and everyone in Australian boxing always thinks I'm in their opponent's camp. It's just the way it is. So I'm like, yeah, cool, mate.
Which means you're doing your job.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, good on you, buddy. But we were taking the piss out of each other on that. And then at the end of it, I said, I was finishing up, and I said, thank you, Jade Mitchell and Michael Zerafa, I love you deeply. And I think he's sort of figuring out that I'm not against him. And I really like him as a guy. And I spent a bit of time with him around then, and I dealt with him, spoke to him a few times and texted with him a lot after the tragedy. And I respect him so much for the way he's handled himself, but the fact that he's willing to put himself into this situation now, like he's made a different stuff like that. Yeah. He's a warrior. Like Dwight Ritchie was a warrior, no doubt, and Michael Zerafa is. To
be fair, Michael Zerafa was almost criminally overlooked heading into that Horn fight. Everyone's saying, Horn's going to fight Murata after this, and at the end of the year, that fight's going to be great. It's going to be big. It's going to be in Japan.
Yep.
No one's. I didn't see anyone sitting there going, hey, hang on. Yeah. Michael Zerafa can box a bit. He's been in there with some legit guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't win them all, but
the only I went to that sparring session with Jeff Fennick when Michael Zerafa sparred with the very impressive Daniel Lewis, who's a star on the rise, and it was only a sparring session. But Zerafa flew in on the day to spar, and he was outstanding. And he was cutting Daniel Lewis apart, and Daniel Lewis was very good.
Yeah,
And it was just the best of Zerafa. And I was watching with Fennec, and Fennec turned to me and goes, "Zerafa wins. He beats Horn." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
This is for a bit of context. Daniel Lewis was giving Daniel Jacobs issues in sparring.
That's right.
Before Canelo's
Before the
fight with
Canelo
Jacobs.
fight, we saw how well Jacobs went against Canelo.